I am pleased to have her back on this program since her last appearance in 1997. Welcome back.
Thank you very much.
You must be proud of this.
I am. I'm really proud.
Yeah. How many years in the making?
Well, it's now going on 7.
What happened? You saw this book in its hardcover edition.
Yeah, actually, I saw it in galley form. My father is a writer and has a lot of publisher friends, and I got a hold of it in its galley form, and I read it, and I sort of became obsessed with it, and I immediately tried to get the rights, and as I did, I found out that they had just been purchased like a week before by Doug Wick. So I sort of...
Hello, Doug.
Yeah, exactly. Wormed my way into his office, and we sort of teamed up. My manager, Carol Bodie, who's another executive producer, myself, and Doug, we kind of teamed up and set off on this journey together.
Was the drive in the beginning because you wanted to take a project from beginning to end, you wanted to executive produce a piece, or was it simply this happened to be something whose story you wanted to make sure was told in the way that you could influence?
Well, I was actually, it was just something that I didn't know if it could be done. It's not a cinematic book at all. It's something that I didn't know if it could be adapted, but I just thought if there's any way it could be, I want to be a part of it. My executive producer thing, I just wanted to sort of use that title as sort of me being a bodyguard, you know. I wanted to use it as just to protect the material as much as I can, have as much control over it that way, to, you know, get the director to have as much say as he wants and give him as much power as he can have. That's what I wanted to use that title as. But I wanted to tell her story. It wasn't that I was dying to produce something. I'm really happy with my job as an actress. I'm really satisfied. I've always loved developing things for myself, just as an opportunity to develop great roles for me to play. Because unless I do that, there's not really a lot out there, unless I go out there and find them and develop them. You know. This
seems to be a great object lesson for every actress and every actor.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, if you really want to have the kind of opportunity that fulfills you,
yes,
you better be on the look for great stories.
Yes, and you have to be very persistent. I mean, we had to be so persistent. We couldn't let a day go by where we weren't on the phone, you know, every single day, trying to get this movie made, trying to get people to, you know, read the book, understand what we were trying to do, and understand why this needed to be told, understand that there was an audience out there, understand that there are no movies out there like this for young people to go see that are intelligent and smart and aren't insulting and aren't popcorn, you know. I mean, sure, you know, Runaway Bride, Pretty Woman, those are fun fairy tale movies, but there's nothing challenging out there for young women to go see that talks about issues that are not discussed in our society, that talks about like panic attacks and depression, and talks about them in a funny way, in a humorous way, in a challenging way, in an intelligent way, in a dark way, and mixes up every aspect of humanity and life, and tells it in such a sort of articulate, brilliant way. That's just not really out there for young women. All the guys have always gotten the great rebels in movies and in literature. I grew up with, the guys got Holden Caulfield, the guys got Lord of the Flies, the guys got Randall from Cuckoo's Nest, the guys got everyone. There weren't a lot of female heroines. There were some, but it was mostly men, and certainly in the movies it was mostly men. with the exception of a few women. And so this was the first time in years that I had seen a woman.
That's what I loved about it. There was the dialogue, women interacting each other.
Yeah,
both
women.
the humor and the conflicts and the passion and the tension.
Yeah, and they were flawed. They're human. They're really messed up. They've got a lot of
they're in an
flaws.
institution.
Yeah, yeah, and it's definitely not a girly film, and I think that's going to be very appreciated by girls, you know? It's not about, you know, a bunch of girls sitting around talking about boys. You know, it's about girls dealing with their own psyche and, you know, discovering things about themselves and delving into parts of themselves that make them who they are, but that are very scary.
Before we go any further, we saw the clip of the trailer, which gives people an indication. These are women, young women in an institution.
Yes.
And I understand what attracted you to it. What do we need to know for this audience listening to you to understand about the movie, the story of the movie?
What is the story? Yeah. A girl going through, 19-year-old girl going through post-adolescent angst, just like we all go through. I think anyone would back me up in saying that 19, you know, everyone's driving you crazy, you're crawling out of your skin, you're having identity crisis, you're going nuts, you're depressed all the time, you don't know what you want to do with your life. This is happening to this girl. She's screwing around. She doesn't know, she's screwing around with her sexuality. She does a very kind of meek suicide attempt, kind of cry for help, takes a bunch of aspirin and vodka. Her parents send her to see a shrink who talks to her for 20 minutes, and after 20 minutes signs her into a mental institution for 2 years. Now, that in itself is insane.
Scary.
It's absurd and it's insane, and that's the most insane thing that happens in the whole movie. Mm-hmm. I mean, basically, she's a sensitive girl going through a hard time. Now, if it's kind of saying any of us could end up in a place like this, you, me, anybody you know. The first line of the book is great.
It's a great line.
You know, it's.
Let me before you let's have you read it.
Okay. I actually know it by heart.
Okay,
but,
go ahead. No, go ahead. Well, here, I'll give it to you in case you do.
People ask, how did you get in people ask, how did you get in there? What they really want to know is if they're likely to end up there as well. I can't answer the real question. All I can tell them is it's easy. And it's easy to slip into a parallel universe. There's so many of them. Worlds of the insane, the criminal, the crippled, the dying, and perhaps of the dead as well.
You read that, and then you want to read this book.
It's like any of us, it could happen to any of us, especially in 1969, when it was like if you rebelled against anything, you were locked up. And what's so interesting about this book coming out and this movie coming out now is if you look at the system, you know, back then, if you were rebelling, if you were slightly troubled, you were locked up for like 4 years, the key thrown away. Now, if you are schizophrenic, psychopathic, suicidal, so troubled, the most we can keep you in, the most that the state or this country can keep you in a place is 3 weeks. And then they push you back out into the world. We can't afford to keep anybody in for more than 3 weeks, even if we're begging. Like, please keep me in. I'm going to go kill the president. I'm going to go kill people. I'm going crazy. I need help. So it's gone from like keeping people in for years and years when they don't need the help to like throwing people that really need the help away back out into the streets.
It's a conflict between civil liberties and the genuine need for psychiatric care, because you're dangerous not only to an outside community but to yourself.
Yeah.
Take a look at this. This is your character as she's trying to find out what borderline personality disorder is. Roll tape. Going on there.
Well, I think there's a great scene where with Vanessa.
The look of Angelina was.
Yeah, with where my doctor says, you know, where I say to my doctor, you know, how many guys would a girl my age have to sleep with to be considered promiscuous? Like, you know, 5, 6, 7, and how many guys would girls with a guy my age have to sleep with to be considered promiscuous? And 100, because it's true. I mean, it's like guys could go screw around and they wouldn't be considered promiscuous, and it's the opposite for girls. And
the answer is probably 3 and 150.
Exactly. The very lot of hypocrisy is going on.
What troubles did you have in getting this on the screen? And why does it take that long to make a movie happen? Is it simply getting the right people together, the actors and the director and the cinematographer?
Well,
is it getting the script ready? Is it Hollywood studios being slow to...
It was difficult finding the director. I found, it took years to find Jim Mangold. We went through kind of a series of directors, who were interested and didn't really get it and thought they wanted to make their own little art movie out of it and their own like director's movie, little kind of. No one really got the material. They wanted to use it as an opportunity to kind of go back to film school and do cool shots of people going crazy and make their little snake pit movie. And when I went to the theater one day in New York and I saw this movie, Heavy, Jim Mangold's first movie, and I freaked out because I knew and it was a matter of convincing him. And it took a while because he was reluctant at first. And I know because the script that I handed him, which wasn't very good at all, it was a very kind of so-so adaptation of this brilliant book. And I just said, please read the book instead and just use this as a skeleton. This is not very good, but I know that you could adapt this. I know that you understand quietness and you understand the deepness of you understand humanity in a way that other directors don't, and you understand yearning and loneliness and trying to communicate. I knew he understood that from his main character in Heavy that he wrote and directed, and I got him to read the book, and he took a little while, and then he agreed to do it. And he says now that it was my passion that convinced him, but I think that it was something he connected to in the book as well. And it was, he really was, a brilliant choice because he's a true filmmaker. He's a true ally to actors, He really, he's not an egomaniac. He's someone who wants to collaborate, who wants input, yet knows exactly what he wants, but who really teams up with you, who really, he really collaborates so beautifully.
Despite his talent, despite Angelina's talent, despite all the talent that you see on the screen, as well as the talent behind the screen, this is your movie.
Well,
this movie, you had this movie made. Did the process, did you find it satisfying? Is it something you'd want to do immediately again?
Yes. I am so immensely proud of this movie that I don't know what to do with myself. When I see it on a marquee or I see the poster on a bus stop, I can barely look at it. I get so emotional. The fact that I made Susanna Kaysen happy, she
likes it.
She likes it, and she is, somewhat of a friend of mine, I'd like to think, and I've gotten to know her, and she's just an incredible woman and an incredible person to know, and that I've pleased her, and I have another movie that I've been developing for a couple of years that I'm doing, that I'm hopefully going to make this year.
Can you tell us what that's about?
It's called Roustabout, and I can't really talk about it yet.
Is it about the West?
It's about the kind of death of the American circus. But that's all I can say.
What kind of character would you play?
I play a roustabout. It's a true story about a female roustabout, a person who builds the tents.
Have you seen Boys Don't Cry?
Yeah, it's a very similar feel to that kind of American, the dark side of the back lot of the circus, you know. Boys Don't Cry is definitely the best movie I've seen this year. I think one of the best movies I've seen.
Too.
I think that if she doesn't win the Academy Award, there is no justice. I think she is absolutely that was one of the best performances I've ever seen given by an actress. I really, really mean that. I think it is one of the greatest performances ever given by an actress. I've seen that movie 6 times. Just watching her, watching all of the actors. All of the actors are brilliant. The direction, everything about that movie, I think it's one of the few.
She's wonderful.
Yeah.
But I thought, when I saw the movie, I thought about you.
Really?
Yeah, but you could have probably, I mean, you can't take it, they did it and probably did it better than anybody else could ever do it.
Yeah.
And they deserve, both the director and the star deserve all the credit, as well as the others who participate in the process. But with your drive and with your sense of story, you know, and with your own acting ability, I mean, this seemed to me the kind of story you could have handled.
Wow, it's
Do you
so
think
weird.
so?
And, recently a director said that gave me that message, and I was so surprised. Yeah, it would have been something I would have loved to have done. But I'm glad that it was an unknown, because it was
Hilary's fabulous.
And she's just brilliant. She really is.
Maybe you'll move her closer to the Academy Award with this kind of support and endorsement.
Well, she's inspiring. She really, like, her performance makes me want to be a better actress. It makes me want to act. It makes me want to get back out there. It makes me want to find great roles. You know, she's an inspiring actress to watch her, you know.
Why was this? You said this was not a cinematic movie. One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest won an Academy Award.
Yeah.
Why?
It was all guys.
Yeah, but that doesn't matter. It doesn't have anything to do with the cinematic quality of it.
Yeah.
I mean, why wasn't this, I would argue, if you had good script, if you had good script and good actors, a relatively easy movie to make?
Because
I mean, the
it's
script
all
being
women.
crucial. What does that mean? It's all women.
I think it's.
We don't want to watch women, and nobody's interested in what women say to each other.
I don't think people want to see a movie about a bunch of women in a mental institution without a hero like Jack Nicholson, like Randall. I can't remember his last name.
I know who.
Mick something.
Yeah, right.
Randall Mick something. That was. I mean, I think that was a tough movie to get made too. This movie.
Michael Douglas produced it.
Yeah. This movie is more, I think, sort of, it's just a part of this girl's life. It's like more of a chapter in this girl's life. It's not like, I mean, he, you know, dies at the end, and the Indian breaks out, and there's Nurse Ratched.
There's more action, and they're more mean characters.
Yeah, and there's more this and that, and it's more conflict. Fiction, and this is a true story. So there's not the villain and the this and the that. It's more true to life. It's more, you know, how things really work.
But here you have people talking, as we just saw, about life, about sex, in a most engaging and humorous, and you see the camaraderie or the connection between people who may or may not all like each other, but are there together in an environment where they have to survive together.
Yeah, and certainly Angelina Jolie, who's an absolutely brilliant actress, her character is very, very dynamic, very sexual, very aggressive, very violent at times, very cutthroat, can be very cruel, can be very frightening, and play the villain, you know? She even says it, she has a line where she's like, look, I'm playing the villain, just like you wanted, you know? And there is a real, you know, that does create this incredible tension, which is really great to watch.
She was essential to this movie, both the character and also the way she played it. I mean, she gives it she takes it and makes it even bigger than the role.
She really brought, she's the only actress, I think, who could have played the role, you know.
Did you see her and decide she was right?
Yeah, I'm very kind of proud to say that she was my idea. I saw her in Gia, and I
don't want to praise you too much, but I mean, I read stories about how good you were on the set. I mean, that there were people in whom you were, even at the tender age of 28 or 29 or whatever you are. You were protective of young people while they went off to New York to do whatever. And that you took this seriously, and this was crucially important to you to play, not just to have your credit executive producer, but to make sure that you were doing the business of producing while you were also engaged in the craft of acting.
Yeah, it was really tough to do both, I have to say.
Did it detract from your acting?
No. I was helped out a lot because Kathy Conrad is a great producer, and she came on with Jim. She's Jim's wife, and she came on with him, and she's a great producer, and she was doing a lot of the dirty work, you know, and I was able to, when I just really needed to think about my acting, my work, she really took over, and that was a lot of the time. But I was, you know, I needed to stay with the movie. I couldn't take off on the weekends.
You had too much in it, and too many years, and too much effort, and too many hopes,
yeah,
and too many dreams.
Yeah.
It kicks you up to another place, you know, the success of this. I mean, and the craft is there, so it can ever, regardless of what happens at the box office, it's there. How motivated were you by your own experiences, which you sort of alluded to on my program in 1997 and talked with Diane Sawyer in 2020 about, where at a point in your life when you were about 19, things got
messy,
so oppressive that you became a little depressive.
Yeah.
And checked yourself into a hospital.
It was a very parallel to the story. I mean, of course I wasn't there for 2 years.
5 days.
Yeah, 5 days. But depression is something that I've always battled, and I don't have manic depression. I don't suffer like William Styron suffers.
But is it you don't have the manic side of it? You just
it's something that I deal with. You know, it's something that I think we all deal with. I think being alive and living in a world like we live in, where you look, I know your other guest wrote the story on cover of Newsweek on AIDS in South Africa right now. Living in this world where the famine, AIDS, violence, you
struggling with answers and dilemmas.
Yeah, you can't not be depressed. If you, I would be scared of the person who was never depressed. Yeah. You know, just living in this society and living in this world with some of the stuff that we just have to deal with every day and have to hear about every day. I think it would be weird to not feel depressed sometimes.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Charlie.
Very good.
Thank you.
Winona Ryder, Girl Interrupted, begins at theaters across America on January 21st.